Hello, Taki traders. Just looking at something a bit different. Looking at the crypto market at the moment. It's been an interesting past week. I'm used to this now, the dips and the pumps and the dumps. So this whole South Korea ban on the exchanges, driving the price down. Overall, I think for the crypto currency market, this is not such a bad thing. A lot of the prices in South Korea were priced over 30% to everyone else, and I mean, we want cryptocurrencies, not want to, it's going to happen. They will become a substantial financial force, whether they become an actual currency, just digital tokens, a store of value, like some people are predicting Bitcoin may actually become sort of like gold. These sort of irregularities have to be weeded out. So this idea that, like, China banned the ICOs, which, so many dodgy initial coin offerings coming out, not the worst thing in the world. South Korea banning exchanges, and also part of it too was banning anonymous accounts, so people had to verify who they are. And I guess part of crypto's sort of positivity from some people's point of view is the anonymity of it. Zcash, Monero, all these other coins that are coming out that have pretty much absolute um, anonymous use of them, even though some people are still being able to work out just where they are on the blockchain. But all I want to do today is have a quick look at some of the trading that's been going on with it. So we'll pull up, this is just my basic trading view chart. It doesn't really show anything, a lot of the other coins, but it's just ones I like to keep a bit of an eye on. Bitcoin's flailing around this 13,000 mark, but again, this is nothing new. I mean, that huge 6% retracement of the entire crypto market before Christmas, and where it bombed out, there was some beautiful, like, around the 11,000. Where I trade on, it didn't get down under 11. It sat about 11.2. That was all good. And then I know compared to other assets, if you see someone go from 11 and up to 17 and back down to 13, they would probably consider those to be massive movements. I just don't for Bitcoin. I mean, it is massive, don't get me wrong, but for me to get into Bitcoin as a coin itself, there needs to be some massive pullback. And even then, the issue with Bitcoin I've got is the technology behind it. Transaction times, transaction costs, it's a bit of an issue for me, but I like to use Bitcoin as a bellwether for the overall market. And at the moment, you can see that if we pull this out pretty much from 17th of December, and then that sort of, crashed down here, and then it's struggled. So, I mean, yes, I get that's $3,000, but to me, for Bitcoin, that I would have, if I saw a rally up to 20, I would have been much more confident with it. So I still feel that the Bitcoin market overall is in this little bit of a bearish market. I'm not saying you can't make money, but just being very aware. On the right, I got Litecoin. Now, with Litecoin, it's probably one of the ones that I've sort of been looking at the most. I feel it's undervalued, just because if Bitcoin gets up again around the 17.5 mark, and Litecoin has definitely tried around this up here over this $300 mark. I just feel it could run to that $400-500, and I know a lot of spectators are banking on that. They're banking on Litecoin getting up there. A lot of people are saying that it's undervalued, but there's always other people, the detractors, that are also saying it's still overvalued. That a lot of the alternative coins that are coming out are doing what Litecoin is supposed to do, but they're doing it faster. They're doing it cheaper. What is the point of it? That's what a lot of people are saying, but at the end of the day, they've got a massive market cap, and that could be enough to just get them over the line. IOTA, I was watching today. Now, IOTA had a beautiful sort of rally, and I actually thought it was going to sustain it at 4, but it just seems like it hit that $4 mark, and it's still dropping now at the moment. There's not a huge amount of volume, but you can sort of see that it is back on this downward trend at the moment. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I've made some good money off IOTA when I drop down to around this sort of mark. For me, when I see IOTA under $3.40 at the moment, I feel that's a buy. You can see this support here at $3.16. So I buy in anything under $3.40, because I feel that even if it drops down to $3.16, $3, I feel quite secure that it's going to bounce up again. And then Ripple, which I see so much love and so much hate for this token. It's not even really a coin. It's amazing. People hate it because it's made as a payment transfer sort of way for the banks and financial institutions, and it's against crypto to some people and all this. But I was surprised to see it drop back to $1.80. Now, if we zoom out, this was all the way back up here, and that's when I got out of it. I mean, I made some nice money. Where did I get into it? Got into it around the $2 mark, and then I sold around $2.70, and that was good for me. I mean, at one stage I was heading towards that $4 or $5 mark, and then since then you can just see it's gone right back down. It can it find support? That is the Ripple problem at the moment. What happens now? At one stage, it overtook Ethereum in market cap and was the second biggest cryptocurrency. I think that the love for XRP is out of the room at the moment. I wouldn't have short it, but unless there's some announcements coming up soon that boost it, I think in the general trading eyes, that is definitely bearish at the moment. But let's go over to the actual coin caps themselves and have a look where we're sitting at the moment. So, you know, Ethereum is still sort of half the volume. You can see sort of in the past 24 hours to Bitcoin, but it's still substantial. And Ethereum's probably the one, if we actually pull out this chart. Despite all these drops, Ethereum seems to be the one that sort of just seems to be keeping, just trucking and doing its own thing. And certainly the technology behind Ethereum, the support behind it. Let's get away from the all-year chart because that makes no sense. Let's just go to a day. So you can see there where it's sort of sitting at. You know, the green one is the price in US dollars. That's the main one I'm looking at. So it was heading towards that 1500. If you can see it up here, and then it's head back down to sort of 1320. I do wonder with Ethereum if it is the choice for a lot of people coming into the market. I know Bitcoin's got the biggest buzz about it, only because of the technology behind Ethereum and the other projects that are going on behind it. That 1300, is that the support level? Is that the point people say this is too cheap, this is the 1500, this is a $2,000 coin, let's get back into it. So I do think we're going to be this week finding some more support for Ethereum out of all the coins, to be honest. I mean, you know, you got your really small old coins that are zoom up from a few cents to something else and they say it's 1000%, but you know, it's much easier for a coin to go from 2 cents to 10 than it is for Ethereum to go from, what's that, 1300 US up to 5,000. Ripple's still sitting in third here. Bitcoin Cash is in fourth. Bitcoin Cash, it just I stay away from that one. That one just doesn't interest me. Cardano's a lot of good news at the moment. That one, it's got its attractors. It's a bit like Ripple in a way. And Litecoin just out of the fifth now, coming in sixth. Which I do, that's sort of Litecoin. As much as other people say they see it going $4 or $5, you're already getting these other coins like Cardano, Bitcoin Cash, Ripple that are just killing it. And I really wonder what foothold Litecoin's going to find. And then one of my, you know, if we scroll down, IOTA is still one of my favorite coins. I see promise in that and sitting there. So yeah, so with crypto market, it's going to be interesting to see this week what happens after the South Korea sort of news last week. They take a lot of money out of the market. This week and next week, we've got a lot of the big traders coming back into the fold, and then around March, I think there's this more legislation passing for, I think funds to get into the Bitcoin market. So there's no way that the crypto market, this is not some sort of like, oh, it's over and this is going to be bullish down to ridiculous levels. I think it's actually, in a way, this is its little consolidation phase, and I expect to see some good things over the next few weeks and few months. But as well, do your research behind the coins, get to know the technology a little bit. It doesn't take long to just do some research, understand what coin you're buying into, and then when you do get into it, just you know, probably buying and holding. I've done CFD trading with it. It's extremely risky with coins. I'd say buy and hold would be the best way. And you know, my favorite coin at the moment is probably, you know, Ethereum and IOTA are the two that I'm into for that. So yeah, as always, good luck trading, and chat soon.